a good time. Put a smile on your face, yeah. Can be Cam and Elation Radio. Even brighten your day and help you through the night. Bring you good music. Can be Cam and Elation Radio. And here's your host, Kimmy Kim.
The Beyond Defense family is a talented group of artists from all genres of music. From hip-hop to inspirational neo-soul, Beyond Defense was founded by artist and CEO David Benton, who had a simple vision to encourage people to truly go beyond their own fences. Since inception, the artists on the label have built a reputation for building communities and award-winning hits. Book Beyond Defense for your next gathering at www.beyonddefense.org. Beyond Defense, your one-stop shop to everything entertainment. BDF, tape.
Beyond the fence.
Beyond the fence.
Beyond the fence.
Beyond the fence.
Benton. DB Junior.
Yes, sir. I got you.
True too. You know I got you. The Jewel.
Broski, you know I had to fly in on this one.
G Will. You know what it is. You see coming like this, didn't you? The bigger they are, the harder they fall. My problem, God slaughtered them all, the harder I ball. Fighting like a scared cat, with her back against the wall. Slip, but I didn't fall. I adapted to the fall. Ignorance, I've been through it. That's why I don't want you to do it. I want to influence, it's already proven. You can be feeling but you just come at the end of the ruin. Who are we fooling? What are we proving? What are we doing? What are we building? What are we giving to some of our children? Built a team, not just the industry thing. We do more than this rapper scene. Beyond the fence, the family tree with the queen. We choose to worship with the king. And we protect the women by any means. And our children on everything.
Through the years, I want my own fight, no life. Thinking everything is alright. Turn around and see my father in the light. Back in 03, that changed my whole life. Deceiving, one for the one mother believing. Don't put on the life I'm weeping. They say things happen for a reason. I'm believing, we're fleeing. Still opportunity life I'm bleeding. I'm in the probation thinking. Structures in my life do need it. Same friends up and down, can't see it. Get it back to the past, I leave it. I'm a dance of mind, I'm pleased. First, procrastinate meeting. A bird of homies down in the heated. Said I'm a loser, I said that I'm meaning. I'm independent, my left with a Tito. That's fine, I was loyal to. Was needed, but Colorado still receive it never stops. And I know I keep preaching once I twice. I never will be this smooth the floor. I won't be defeated.
Swag so magnificent due to the omnipotent. Yes, you know it's heaven sent. Call me George Jefferson. I'm walking in your glory if I keep my eyes focusing. Never turn away from the one who first loved me, man. I go by G Will. I'm in the building, man. Good looking on the head off the game, just advance. My focus so clearly beyond 2020. Thanks to BDF, there's a new addition to the family.
What I got in my music, principle, purpose, so much that they use it. Bruise it, to prove it, no way that I'm losing. Something I do, supposed to delusion. The BDF revolution. Wake up, ain't no more illusion. Concept to the union, we appreciate your contribution. Awaken a snick of time, define how bad it hurts. Conduct with metal, touch it, fire, bring it together for the better men. Bring it together, be better men. All of the people in children. Graduate old school veterans. Take over the nation, Taliban. Hold up the world with one hand. Choose to division, it's intense. Looking at what the beyond is.
We are beyond the fence. We are beyond the fence.
With this one, I've seen I've been drafted. Armor's been fitted and heavily crafted. Run to the battle through fire, I blast. I do this for real, pretend it's a strategy. Do this a classic. Read the back of the book, there's a test and I easily pass it. All the sacrifice of training, the blood and the tears when I laugh it. Yeah, I'm a cast. I wanna speed it up. The label say slow it down. I skip my medication, tripolars traveling the speed of sound. I'm lost and now I'm found. Love you on the way up and they hate you on the way down. And it's never about the setting, it's the jewels that's in your crown. Judge.
We are beyond the fence.
Welcome to Beyond the Radio.
Welcome to Beyond the Radio, and you better be smiling.
Beyond the fence is in the building.
Welcome right here on Beyond the Radio. This your host, your main man, the coach, David Benton. I'm in the building, and you know what? I am smiling. That's right, I am smiling. Hope you guys are having a wonderful night tonight, because we got a great show for you guys. That's right. Shout out to the Elation family. We love you, love you, love you. Thank you. We tell you every week. We thank you for your prayers. So by the time we come up in here, we already know it's been paid over. This we covered, so we can just get straight into it. That's right. So we're gonna go ahead and start with this show. So can I get another drum roll? The infamous, the coach, who's on tour right now, Shay Samuels. Are you in the building?
Shay Samuels is in the building. And I'm smiling. Hi, Coach David. Shout out to the Elations family and, of course, the Beyond the Fence family. We love you guys. And to all the listeners who tune in every Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to join us, Coach David. I'm excited for the show tonight and just ready to get into it.
Yes. So with that being said, can I get another drum roll? You like the high note?
I love it.
The funny, the comedian, my main man, Tommy Two Toes. Are you in the building?
Tommy Two Toes is in the building, and I'm smiling. Coach David hitting high notes and stuff. I heard you on the high note, brother.
Yes, sir. How you been doing, brother? How your week been, brother?
Hey, man, it was great, man. Just had a performance yesterday. It was great, man. It was great, man. It was beautiful.
Congratulations.
Touching the mic. Thank you. Man, but look here, y'all. I had a debate this week, and one, I don't really like debating on my personal life, but somebody gonna ask me why I got on shorts for and it's cold outside. Man, I'm like, well, I am summertime every day of the year below the knees. What do you mean? You know what I mean? Yeah. I was like, I had to break it down since they forgot I don't have legs. You know what I mean? But yeah. And what I don't understand was you don't even know me. So what made him feel comfortable questioning my clothing attire? You know what I mean? But I went ahead and answered his question. You know what I mean? But
yes, sir. Oh man, bro, I ain't gonna lie, that was funny though.
Yeah, it was funny because it caught me off guard. But I was like, it ain't your business why I got on shorts. You know, but hey, I went ahead and broke it down for him. Oh,
man, but that's a blessing, man. So, what's up, you guys? Y'all ready to start this show?
We ready.
Coach Shay, it's on you.
I'm ready. Okay. So, sorry, Kimmy Kim. Let me give a great big shout out to Kimmy Kim. They got me behind the scenes doing some work. So let me just go ahead and get into this show. Coach David, first let me give a shout out to Seed Planners Church, too, who I had the opportunity of fellowshipping with tonight for the I Made It tour. I know that there are a few people on tonight listening, and I do want to give a great big shout out to every person that was an intricate part in making sure that the hospitality there was amazing. The word was amazing. Worship was amazing. So shout out to Seed Planners Church in McDonough, Georgia, and we will definitely be doing some more work with them as a Beyond the Fence family. So just want to give a great big shout out to them. But let me go ahead and get into this topic tonight. I'll preface the discussion tonight, Tommy and Coach David, and listeners, I'll preface the conversation tonight with this topic with why I wanted to really, really hone in on this topic. And I think it's something that we all have experienced just from the three of us talking about it. Each person has experienced something pertaining to this topic. And so I'll start with this. today during our regular church service, shout out to my church, New Covenant Church, out of Cedartown, Georgia, Alabama, Gaston, Alabama, and Piedmont, Alabama. Let me tell you, today my apostle was talking today about how he was asking a question during our disciple class. He said, why is it so hard? Like, what is the reason that we think people don't come to church as often anymore? And so I told him, you know, just from my what I see going out, especially with the tour starting, Coach David, when we did the tour last year as well, you know, we get a chance to visit a lot of churches. We get a chance to visit a lot of ministries. We get an opportunity to even be invited to events that's hosted at churches as well. And it seems like there was a running theme, and most of that was that there were not always a lot of people at these churches, whether small or big. And so I told him, I said, and this is really just kind of recent, because Coach David, you know, back in like 2017, 18, and even maybe 2019, we would go to churches and they would just be packed. They would be packed. And I'm not saying that what we've been doing, there's only a little people, but in comparison to that, you know, the numbers have scaled back tremendously. And so I said to him, I said there was some alternatives that presented itself. So the pandemic, we all know that the pandemic happened in 2020, and people got very, very creative, and they started going online to have church. And so services became a little bit more easier for people to just kind of take part in because of Zoom meetings or Google Meet meetings, but it got popular, and I think it's a trend that never stopped, right? Or it hasn't. It's just a trend that took on, and then all of a sudden, you know, people are like, I don't got to get out of bed anymore. I don't got to get out of bed. I can stay in my night clothes. I can have my coffee at the table, and I can listen to praise and worship from my bed, or I can listen to service while I'm driving to the grocery store. So that was one of the alternatives. And so he said, Coach David and Tommy Two Toes, he said, so then that means the church is in an epidemic. And so I posted that. And when I posted it, there were a couple of comments that were made on the post. And so my post just said on Facebook, my post said, the church is in an epidemic. There you would not think that it's something disputable. If people want to have their opinion, some people might have wanted clarification, but I'm going to tell you there were two comments. The first comment was from a young man that I know, and he said, what's the sickness? And originally I looked at it, and I thought, because I communicate with this young man, not often, but I communicate with him, and we kind of, you know, tag team certain things on Facebook. But he said, what's the sickness? And I loved it because, if you know, with the epidemic, it's like that's worldwide. And so he said, what's the sickness? So I said Luke 8, and I gave him the scripture that we were talking about today. He said, is it? So now, an onlooker would think that that was debatable, right, Coach David, Tommy Two Toes? If an onlooker came on and they just saw that post, they would think, oh, they beefing, right?
Right, exactly.
And so I said to him, I said, well, you know how I roll, so why don't you just go ahead and teach the people, take the time out to teach the people, and he did. Then there was another comment that was made, and the comment simply said, sin. Now, it didn't have any other commentary surrounding sin. It just said sin. So again, I'm concerned about the people who are going to be looking at this post and not knowing exactly how to respond, but they're probably looking for a response. So sin to me was just a one-word, quote-unquote, answer that would have left people baffled. So I told this gentleman that he needed to expound a little bit more. I said, do you mean the people or do you mean the church, right? And so he came back, and his response was a bit aggressive. I believe it was a bit aggressive. And as he began to respond, he made sure that he put behind his comment, Chief Apostle. And he said, what did he say? He said, I'm sticking to my comment as Chief Apostle. So now, where there's clearly no knowledge of what to say, the title came up. And so, Coach David and Tommy Two Toes, I began to pose this question, especially to Coach David, because it started earlier this morning. There are a number of reasons why people just don't want to come to church anymore. One, confusion. My apostle said, do you think the word's watered down? The word is the word. We use the word every Sunday. And it depends on who's giving the word, whether or not it's watered down. But the word itself, the messenger might do that, but the word itself is not watered down. But two, the fact that we've become so accustomed, and to me, Coach David and Tommy Two Toes, I'm going to say this, the commentary from the chief apostle seem a little bit bullyish to me. Because you're the chief apostle, quote unquote, your title supersedes the knowledge that you should have to teach the people. And so we're going to talk about that tonight. Tommy Two Toes, I know that we had talked with you and we asked you, so, why don't you go to church? I'm going to hand it over to you because you had some great information that I know for a fact will bless a couple of people tonight. So, Tommy Two Toes, you said you don't go to church, so it helped the people understand why you don't go to church.
I like to phone a friend. But no, seriously, the reason why I personally don't go, I can't afford it. One, a lot of times but more importantly, the reason why I don't go is it does have to do with a lot to do with confusion, but a lot of times it has to do with the leader, and then. The things that I've been told, it's like I'm hearing one thing, but it's not like universal. I feel that what is being told is being interpreted to justify people's actions in church. And to avoid the confusion, I stay away from it altogether. So what I personally do is have my own direct relationship with the man upstairs. Because when I was in church frequently, I was basically, how can I put it, put to the side. And, I was always told we're going to help the less unfortunate. And, I might have grew up a little broke, per se. And for whatever reason, it seemed like everybody that lived in the suburbs was the one getting the help who didn't need it. So I'm like, well, how y'all going to help me? Or why won't y'all help me when y'all say y'all going to help me? So I'm like, it's not like y'all preaching or practicing what y'all preaching. So to avoid all of that, I kind of separated myself and eliminated myself from the situation.
Wow. Coach David Benton?
Yes. Well, I did read the comments. I think they both of them were a little, not a little, both of them was argumentative. Like the brother you talking about, one did say, sin without explaining, and the other one, after you already said it, you gave the scripture. He said, "Are you sure?" So, if somebody wasn't mature enough, like yourself, somebody else would have come back and said, "Well, of course I'm sure, or I wouldn't have put it up there." So, to me, they both was out of pocket. I'm not gonna make an excuse for either one, but people read these things, and that's why they don't really want to be a part of this type of negativity. Because here's the thing. People always talk about, I want the word. They're coming to get the word, right? And you can come get the word. But what's the point of coming to get the word when the Bible clearly say don't just be a reader of the word, be a doer of the word? People want the word,
exactly,
but they don't work to change. People are using the church. I'm going to tell you, from what I've seen, people taking the church and they like substituting it for when they was in the club. That's it. Okay, you don't go to the club anymore, but now only thing you're doing coming to church is just to jump, shout, fellowship, and have a good time. There's no change. That's the same thing we did at the club. We drank, smoked, dance, have fellowship, and go home. No change involved, just like the church. Think about it. Where's the change? People think they changed it because they don't smoke no more. People think they changed because they might not drink. People think they changed it because they don't use profanity. But things like this show how rude people can be, how boastful and arrogant people can be. People trying to prove that they just so big and bad, and my God bigger than your God. I thought it was one God. Especially we both in the church. All you trying to show me is how great you are. And when people see this, they feel like, why should I be a part of that negativity? Why would I indulge myself in that type of atmosphere when I can just be right here at home and I just continue to look at my little YouTube or get it online or on my Zoom calls? But why should I participate in foolishness? And that's all people seeing is foolishness. That's what I have to say about that, Coach Shay. Coach Shay, you still with us?
Yep, I'm so sorry. I was actually talking. I said it's been a hardship since the pandemic. I agree with everything you were saying. It's really been a hardship pre-pandemic, pre-COVID, for people to, get connected with church or to be reconnected with church. And I'm sure that everyone has heard our own experiences with church. And so I love the fact that we can withstand the test of times and be here where we are today. But you and I said it earlier today while speaking about this, not everyone has the heart, not everyone has the strength, not everyone has the boldness, because for one of the comments, I actually went back to the person and said, you mentioned, and I said in relation to what he said, I said, and I'm going to stick to my comments. My response is that we are here to teach the people. So we're not going to forget that. We're not going to forget that we're here to teach the people. You said one word when you were speaking, and that was just sin. How can people know what sin is and what to come out of if you don't expound on it? And so that was my charge back to this person. So I want people, when they see this, to be, and it happens a lot, Coach David, you know this, it happens a lot. We post something and you don't really get a chance to see people until you see the wrong thing, until they feel you said the wrong thing. So every day I post something that is definitely motivational on my page. I'll post something that can be a little challenging for the mind, meaning for you to be accountable. And it seems like when we post something or when we talk to people, Coach David, about accountability, that's when people begin, it's like that match that strikes. That's when it seems like that match is struck. And all of a sudden, people come from out of nowhere. And you said it best. We don't see you when it's time to congratulate us. We don't see you saying anything motivational, encouraging, knowing that we're on the roads in and out. How many people we have prayed for, how many people we have blessed, how many people. We don't see that then. But when someone feels like it's an opportunity to jump in like double dutch, all of a sudden, all these people come out of nowhere. And what we see when we look at this, especially Facebook being one of the media outlets that most people are on, for them to see a group of people who are supposed to be the body of believers, the example of what Christ is, the example of what the church should look like, going back and forth, we can't even agree and yet do it nicely. So there's no wonder someone like Tommy Two Toes would be like, I don't want a part of that. And Coach David, I think you said it best too. You said you used to be in a gang, and the church is like a gang. There's sets, there's people, there's cliques. Go ahead, Coach David.
I was really going to get into that. Like, it is like, it's the same structure. You got, I remember growing up, people used to say bishop, pastor. Now, everybody is, like, you don't really see the bishops and pastors no more. Everybody want what they would call the top. Now everybody the top dog. Everybody want the top position. I ain't never seen so many apostles and prophets in my life. You know, it was rare to see an apostle back in the days. Now everybody, you don't even got to have really knowledge. Everybody wants the title. Why? Because everybody want to be the big man on campus. Everybody want that title position. And as a person who was in a gang, I seen the same structure. The pastor is the big homie. He the big homie. He represents the big dog. You know, we going Lion King. He Mufasa. He's Mufasa of the clique. Then you got your soldiers around you. You know, now you got your deacons, your missionaries. Then you got your foot soldiers, the people in the congregation. Y'all go out, tell people about this word. Y'all bring people in. So guess what I see people in the congregation doing? They just going out saying your church ain't better than my church. Your church ain't like my church. I see it right now. People brag, yeah, I go to this church. Yeah. You know, they go to that mega church. So, you know, they look at it like, yeah, it's the church I go to. And that's fine and dandy that you represent and you proud of where you are because, you know, you probably know, you came a long ways. But at the same time, what is it doing for our community? It's doing nothing. Like we show that we have value, but not executing the value that we say we show. Every gift that in Corinthians 13, 1 Corinthians 13, it's a love chapter, right? But at the same time, I tell you about the gifts of the Spirit. These gifts are not for us to brag about, and that's what we do. Everybody wants to say, I'm the biggest thing on the planet and try to make somebody else feel less than them. But what are you doing for your community? It's a church on every corner, but there's more poverty, sickness, death, destruction in the same inner city where there's a church on every block. So what we going to say, the devil more powerful than God? But remember now, we're supposed to represent people. I don't see people doing a great job of this. People want the knowledge, but they don't want the character. They just want the knowledge. They just want to brag about it. Ooh, look what I know. I know what you know, but I also know what you do.
Right.
And what you're doing right now is trying to make people feel bad. What you're doing right now is pushing people further away. What you're doing right now is discouraging people. Right now, what you're doing, you want to be worshipped. You want people to look at you and say, ooh, look at that man and woman of God right there. Now, that's how it's supposed to be. Everybody want to be the big man on campus. Ain't nobody smiling. They doing more crying than laughing. I understand there's a lot of broken people, but I'm talking about the ones who claim they the most spiritual. There's no smile, and that's why we always encourage people to smile more. And it's sad, Coach Shay, Tommy Two Toes. It's sad. You know? So that's why every time we come on this radio show, we love to laugh, we love to have fun, and we do smile. But at the same time, we're going to give you the hard truth. This is not to discredit anyone or put anyone down. But what we do want to do is build people up. Build people up. That's what we want to do. That's our goal. That's our message. We're not here to tear you down and you stay down. No, we ain't plucking you up from the root. It's just a demolition thing. We're going to knock you down on where you still have on ground level and you have a foundation. We're just going to knock you down to the foundation and rebuild. So what we want to do is do some reconstruction of your mind. And with that being said, we're going to go to a music break. So, where the music?
Where the music get? Where the music get?
Where the music get? Boom, boom, boom. Where the music?
Where the music? Must be the music. Where is the music?
Okay. Where the music?
Where
DJ.
Yo, I gotta say a prayer for my friend. Called me up the other morning 4 a.m. Said he's going through some things in his life, having it hard and hadn't slept in several nights. And he's calling me to help him on his way. If I didn't mind, could I stay on the phone and pray? So I walk into the living room, and Lord, this is what I said to you, 'cause you're the only way. Down and bring peace with it. So I place my trust in you. So pour your blessings down, pour your blessings down. Lord, I praise this up to you and only you can bring the favor down and bring peace with it. So I place my trust in you. So pour your blessings down, pour your blessings down, Lord, yeah. So I got to work so tired, could barely hold my eyes. Then my boss, he called me in the office by surprise. To myself, oh Lord, I put this in your hands. And with fear, I went to him, said, here I am. He said, close the door, I know that you're a praying man. My heart is heavy and I'm in need of counseling. I think I'm about to lose the love of my life. The doctor says she's ill, but I can't lose my wife. Favor down and bring peace with it. So I place my trust in you. So pour your blessings down, pour your blessings down. Lord, I praise this up to you and only you can bring favor down and bring peace with it.
blessing. It's only you. Oh, how you reign in my life today. I choose you, Jesus. It's only you. It's you, it's you, it's you, Lord. It's you, it's you, it's you, Lord. Oh, what a blessing. It's only you. It's you, it's you, it's you, Lord. It's you, it's you, it's you, Lord. Oh, what a blessing. It's only you. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Oh, what a blessing. It's only you. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Oh, what a blessing. It's only you. You gave me joy, peace and happiness. What more can I ask for? It's only you. You gave me love, 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 love. So I can show it's you. There's nothing like Jesus. It's only you. It's you, it's you, it's you, Lord. It's you, it's you, it's you, Lord. It's you. Oh, what a blessing. Such a blessing. It's only you. It's you, it's you, it's you, Lord. It's you, it's you, it's you, Lord. Oh, what a blessing. Oh, what a blessing. It's only you. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Oh, what a blessing. It's only you. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Oh, what a blessing. It's only you.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Beyond the Radio.
Welcome to Beyond the Radio, and you better be smiling.
Beyond the Fence is in the building. That's right. Welcome back to Beyond the Radio. I'm your co-host, Coach Shay Samuels, and I'm on with your main man, Coach David Benton, and comedian Tommy Two Toes. And tonight, listen, if you are just tuning in, we are talking about why don't people like going to church anymore? It's more than that, but we want you guys to make sure you stay tuned to the end. Before we go back to the topic, let's give a great big shout out to our sponsors. Shout out to Paula G. Voice Lady Wisdom After Midnight. You hear it every week, the voiceover that starts the show off. That is Paula G. Voice. And so we are encouraging you, if you're serious about your business, you're serious about your radio, you're serious about quality commercials, we want you to look Paula G. Voice Lady Wisdom After Midnight up at paula@paulagvoice.com or paulagvoice.com. If you are a teacher, if you have a business where you have to put tutorials up, we want you guys to make sure that you take what you're doing and make it more quality for your people to buy. I don't think people realize the importance of that, but we'll get into that. Paula@paulagvoice.com and paulagvoice.com. Let her know that Beyond the Fence sent you, and you can also find the information on the Beyond the Radio Facebook page. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Also, we want to give a great big shout out to our main man, G Weezy, William G. Will Faulkner, the Beyond the Fence artist and DJ. Listen, if you go on his page right now, you will see this spectacular event that he just did. He can do that for you guys. So I want you to book him today. Book him at Beyond the Fence beyondafence.org. That's BEYONDAFENCE.org. Also, we do have to give a great big shout out to the Beyond the Fence Expansion Company. David, can I get a drum roll?
Swing.
Let's Talk Business Consultant Strategy and Coaching Group, LLC, Training and Development. Listen, we are taking businesses from zero to, look, whatever your vision is. If you are a new business owner or an existing business owner, and you're looking to do something different with your business, let's talk business. We have different strategies. We have the ability to consult you in the right direction. And not only that, but we are life and business coaches, so we can take what you're doing and help you turn that vision into what you want to see for a successful business. Reaching to us at aboutbuildingleaders@gmail.com. Also, make sure you connect with us on Facebook at Let's Talk Business Consulting Group, and also on Instagram at LTB Consulting Group. Coach David, I'm going to hand it back over to you.
Thank you, Coach Shay. And guess what? I'm about to hand it over to Tommy Two Toes, because he didn't get a chance
All right,
to say.
hand it to me, man. Hand it to me.
Yes, sir. So we was talking about why people not going to church as much. And I know
Exactly. Man, also another reason I've been thinking about it long and hard, it has to do with possibly the leader. You know, if you don't follow the leader or believe in the leader, it's hard to believe in what they're saying. And, I mean, I'm not, knocking anybody that's in that position, because I know it's a hard job and I definitely am not qualified, so I'm not trying to do it. But at the same time, possibly some of the people who are in that position might not be the right person for that position. And, it's hard for you to follow somebody or follow what they're saying if you don't believe in them as a leader.
Wow.
Mm. That's true. Powerful.
Yeah, I said something like that earlier today while we were in church, because what Apostle Willie was talking about there, he was talking about he was coming out of Luke 8, where it talked about the seed and how they came from all cities, and some seed fell by the wayside. And there's a couple of different groups of people that he was talking about regarding how you hear. And so, Coach David, I was given the example of how when I was younger, I wasn't too young. I had to be in my 20s at the time. And I was out with my sister, and I heard what I thought was they were firecrackers. So I saw the lights go off, and I ran to the window. But then there were a group of people. I was the only one running to the window, you guys. But everybody else ran in the bathroom. And so what I thought were firecrackers were actually gunshots. And so everyone else knew what that was. I didn't. And so I was telling everybody today while they were talking, I said, really, it's kind of like that's how you hear the messenger. Depending on where you are, depending on where your heart is, depending on what you've been through, when you come into a service, like Tommy Tuto said, church, you have to figure out how you can talk to this audience of people, one message, one sound, but how do you talk to one group of people that are dealing with different things in their lives? They have different types of heart issues. You get what I'm saying, Coach David and Tommy Two Toes? So when someone comes into this church, you have to figure out how you give one message to multiple people and touch each person. That's kind of how it is with our music. When we make music as artists, we have to figure out how this one song and instrumental touches a plethora of people. It's really hard to do that in church. Coach David, back to you.
I agree. Leadership definitely plays a part. But watch this. It goes on both ends. I'm going to play God's advocate on here. So, because I don't like devil's advocate. So I was like, who made that up? But I want to play God's advocate. So what if we do have a leader who does, everything to the best of his ability in love, in honor, and respect? Well, I think that there's another thing where, the congregation, because everybody got to be held accountable. You do have the parts where, I've seen it many times where the leader is really not a leader. You have the title, but you're not really a leader. They don't know how to handle that responsibility. But at the same time, us that's in the pews in the congregation who's surrounded by a great leader, then are we actually taking in what that leader is saying? You know what I'm saying? Are we actually just taking everything as face value, just being pacifier? Pacified ministry. Put the pacifier in his mouth. I taught that in the Bible study last Thursday. Just put the pacifier in his mouth and he good. Because one thing about a bottle, the milk is for nourishment. It got vitamins in it for the baby. You help the baby grow, nutrition, boom, boom, boom. But guess what? That pacifier is just rubber. Baby cry, put the rubber in it, put the little rubber pacifier in his mouth. He gonna suck on it and be quiet, and you just want to finish watching TV, so the baby won't keep crying. But that's how we doing in these ministries. People want the pacifier. People want the pacifier. Because one thing about the milk, it got a taste to it. And what people being fed don't always taste good to them. Because people want to jump, shout, holler, scream, say amen, and say that they came to church. They use in church the cross. They use all these like a good luck charm. It's like a 4-leaf clover. We've been bamboozled by TV. Just think when the vampire come in, they pull out that cross. Hey, get away! Or the werewolf, they got the silver bullet. And we using these symbols. The same thing God said don't do. We're using the church as that symbol, that symbolic place. Say, okay, I was in this house of God. Okay, you was in where it's holiness at, but that don't mean you were made whole. Because the way you came in, you didn't leave out with growth. It got to be a lifestyle, and it's not becoming a lifestyle. Because people are just receiving they're hearing the word, and some receive it, and they might be good for 2 days. But then they go right back because they got to understand that this is a lifestyle. So you have people who are outside the church, and I don't want to say believers, but you have believers who just not Christians. You got Buddhists who believers. That's just what they believe. You have Nation of Islam, Muslims who believers, Hebrew Israelites. They believe. They just believe differently. So you have people who wants to be a part of a certain community, but then they get discouraged based on how they're being treated by the ones who say they are representatives of the same community. So they just going, really, everybody want their peace. So it's like, well, if I see chaos in that community, why am I going to be a part of that chaos when I'm more peaceful over here? You want to expound that Tommy Two Toes? You got anything to say, my brother?
Hey, man, I was getting ready to tell you, you need to say it again for the people in the back. Because like you said, it's a lifestyle. Because, it's a lot of people that thinking they can get to heaven just on Sunday. You know what I mean? And you got to do it all days of the week. We human, so we gonna fall off and make mistakes. But it's like you said, it's a lifestyle. It's not part time. It's a full time situation. And that's another reason why a lot of people, I believe, probably not going to church as much as they used to. The example is not given like it maybe used to be or as much as it was once. It's a bad example given, so it's like, why would I want to be a part of some foolery? I could go ahead and stay here by myself and do my own thing and get more accomplished.
Okay.
I do want to say that today's experience was really good at Seed Planners. There were some great testimonies. This church celebrated a 5-year anniversary. And Coach David, I thought about you kind of, throughout some of this service because they had some young men who came up on the stage to speak as part of their testimonials, what they called impressions. And so these two young men who got up there said that they didn't realize they needed a church, but they had been looking for a church. One said he drove by this church maybe like every day going to work and decided to stop in one day. And so when you talk about a church and their fruits, first of all, the church was full of men. The church was full of men. There probably were about maybe 12 ladies, including myself in there, but the rest were full of men. That was the first time that I'd ever seen anything like it. And when the young men got up, their hearts started to swell up because the one thing that they said they became better at when they got to this church was being a better father and a better husband. One guy said that he actually had not been with his family for over 8 months and he didn't plan on going back. But after attending the church, after being invited by the first young man I was talking about, he said after 8 months of not being with his family, he went back to get them and they sat in the front row with them that day. And so for me, this was indicative to what we've been teaching, what we talk about, what we try to share with people, that you should see change somewhere as a result of you going. And so the pastor, 42 years old, has a lovely wife. His children are there. They're helping. In fact, their daughter couldn't have been any more than 7 years old. She was actually the assistant to the mother. And so what I was watching was this church build a community. Not only did they have, and I haven't seen this in a long time, so this is why I'm giving them a shout out. Not only did they have people at the church giving impressions, but they had government officials sending videos to say, we thank you during the pandemic for giving out food, being a place where we can opened up for vaccinations, being a place that donated into us. And this is a small-bodied church with a very big impact in the community. And so I believe that if we had more communities, and I'm not just going to use the word churches because they go out into the community, and their work actually showed as a result. And the one thing that I want to point out after pointing all that out is that there was a young lady who was there, hadn't been at the church long, and what she said was, he doesn't make it feel like he's ahead of us or he's over us. He makes us feel as if we're part of the team. And Coach David, I know we had talked about that probably about a day or two ago as it pertains to other parts of our ministry and our label. But she said the one thing I had never experienced from any other church is feeling like I'm a part of the team. I came to him with an idea. He prayed about it. He came back. He said, let's run with it. And she said, and I knew I was home at that point. So we can have more of that within the communities and not so much finger pointing, judgment, or we can have something that will allow people to even utilize their creative edge, especially the youth nowadays who need the outlet. We're restricting the youth from a lot because we just have this pompous attitude that this is what church should look like. And we won't be able to touch the communities the way that we need to, the way I saw today, if a lot more of that's not happening.
Yes, Coach Shay, that was awesome. Yeah, and that was awesome. And that's, I always, like you said, we talked about that a couple of days. And, kings and queens, men and women of God, what we talked about was, I was saying that I don't want to say, like, somebody's up under me. I always say they're with us. When it comes to Beyond the Fence Enterprise, I don't say they're under us. They're family. People who listen to the music or to the radio show, or they come to Let's Talk Business and we help them become a better version of themselves, or we helping people with their business or businesses or whatever it is, we say we're working with them. Nobody's up under us. It's family. And I think it's healthy You know, it's important for all of us to understand, even that person in leadership, that person is not God. You're talking about a mere human who makes mistakes every day. Every day. So that's why it's up to each and every last one of us to really like focus on our own selves as far as getting to mature. See, me, I can go to a church and that pastor can do something out of character. Notice out of character, because that's normally not him. So if he do something out of character, me personally, I understand, because he's a human. He's going to get mad. He's going to get upset. He's human. He's a man first, or she's a woman first. And guess what? We're going to do that from time to time. They're not God. Don't worship them. It's up to every last one of us to the great part about the church is just being a part of a positive community. Positivity. So when you do go and you get positive energy, then you take that positive energy out there to the world. But at the same time, if you really want it, you're going to tap in not to just Sundays, but you'll have a relationship every day. Every day. You have a relationship with somebody in that community where you have accountability partners. That's what it's about. That's what the church is about. It's supposed to function every day. Attach yourself to these type of circles. You know, everybody in the church may not agree in one congregation, but that's fine. It's just up to us to hold each other accountable in righteousness and in love, and let's continue to build each other up in positivity and learn. And the more you learn, the more it's supposed to develop in your character, meaning you'll walk it out. You know, because we're not going to be able to please everybody. That's the reality. They say Jesus was used in Beelzebub, which is a demonic spirit. But if Jesus would have focused on what they were saying about him, then he would have been in conflict in a spiritual warfare with his own self, meaning he's trying to prove to them and please them. But he just said he was about his Father's business. So he just continued to move the way he was supposed to move. He was being obedient because he knew who he is.
Coach David.
Hey, I think you might be having technical difficulties.
No problem. So I think he is having some technical difficulties, but we just want to make sure that we encourage everyone in the last couple of minutes that we do have. My words of encouragement is, as leaders, be sure that you are being who your congregation is needing you to be. The people need you to be. You know, there are going to be people who come in, and there are going to be people who need so much more than what we're used to or accustomed with getting. Got to be like a basketball team, Tommy Two Toes, where you have everything that they need right there. Everything that they need right there. If it's one-sided, then you're not going to be able to touch a plethora of people, and I think that's what that church tonight was able to do. And then if you are the people going in, be open. You know, Coach David did a post the other day, which I thought was really funny, Tommy Two Toes, where he said he was, when he was incarcerated, there was a guy who was just mad. I'm not sure if you saw it, but if you haven't, you guys go ahead to his page and see it. He said the guy woke up mad. He said they went to go eat breakfast and they were eating Frosted Flakes and he was still mad. And David was like, it's too early to be mad.
Too early.
Coach David was like, it's too early to be mad. And so don't go into church mad, expecting for people to welcome you with open arms or expecting to receive the word. And we said something good today, too. If you can't receive worship, then you're not going to be able to receive the word. So this is a twofold thing. And I believe we may end up doing the part 2 to this. If this was good to you guys, please make sure you go ahead to the Beyond the Radio page on Facebook and like the page and let us know if you have any comments. We'll continue this, and we hate that Coach David got cut off, but we're going to go ahead. It's 11 o'clock and let you guys know we love you, we love you, we love you. We will see you next week at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Beyond the Radio. Kimmy Kim, we love you. Beyond the Fence family, we love you, and we will see you all next week. With that being said, where the music at? 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 Where the music at?
As I turn on my TV, looking at the news, another brother being gunned down, another one accused, a homeless mother with her 3 kids, with nowhere to go, another in the line of fire, ended up in the hospital, a father only being bullied in front of his kids, another sister being fired for just keeping it real. Dividing, we're screaming stop the violence, but how can I breathe with all of this in front of me? Can we unite the world with all this strife? Can we unite the world with all this strife? Can we unite the world with all this strife? Can we unite the world with all this strife? The Capitol was I'm feeling so frustrated. They say all lives matter, but if it did, we didn't notice it. Police wasn't so brutal in this brutality. We don't see eye to eye. We only see white supremacy. Who's reporting the news? She looks just like you. With tears in her eyes because she knows this is a fight. The media dividing. We're screaming stop the violence, but how can I breathe with all of this in front of me? Can we unite the world with all this strife? Can we unite the world with all this strife? Can we unite the world with all this strife? Can we unite the world with all this strife? Can we unite the world? Can we unite the world? I believe that we can change the world, one person at a time.
Shay, tell them what the focus about. Can't breathe when you choking me out. Now you notice my doubt. When it comes to the unity and hope to unite. From birth, how I'm holding us right. Follow the laws of the land. You mad at the steel. But what about the people on Capitol Hill? Hope we can all learn from that and rebuild. Because we can change the world. Change the world. We can change the world. Change the world. And there you have it. Shay Samuel, Beyond the Fence in the building. David Benton. We can change the world if we just stick together.